So Libra, this is your reading for the month of Aquarius. That means the sun is in Aquarius and giving the light to the moon, which is waning. That is in your sign. So these two are speaking directly through the sun and moon to you. And mostly it becomes the title of the reading. Because, I mean, this is the influence that you are feeling, particularly through the sun. The moon itself is that subconscious, is the dark, is that where we have to look deep within ourselves and see what is there that drives me from an unconscious place. And so the sun is giving you light, is giving you a perspective of like, have a look at this. And we can see how she is facing the left spinning path and you look straight ahead. And so I want to show you a picture because I do right and left spinning readings, and right now you get a right spinning reading, and that is the earth spins around its own axis to the right every 24 hours, and then of course it spins at the same time around the sun in 365 days. That's then 1 year. And here above we have the wobble, which is spinning to the left on its own axis, the earth, and that lasts 25,800 years. And that's your left spinning reading, which you get once a year on your full moon, which is opposite your sign in Aries. And so when I speak about the left spinning cycle, it's the soul. It's that part within us that helps us to grow, and it gives us the inspiration. And it gives us the inspiration to look deeper, right? To look deeper within. And that's the from deep within to the outside. That's the left spinning path, right? That's the intuition. And to the right, that's the right spinning path. That's the path of the human that learns whatever it learns, and also the soul will learn through that. And so here you have quite an interesting perspective. You have this beautiful woman completely naked in a position of a star, giving water to water and water to earth. And it's very fascinating because it's that state of consciousness, the 1 and the 7, that says, now I give in a magical way myself the earthly experience to be successful, to be the star, to be the hope, to be also, you know, the higher consciousness that brings success without wanting success. And you, in the number 11, you have a portal in your card, and you are the middle of the 22 major arcanas. And in some decks, you're not the number 11. In some decks, you're the number 8. And actually, Leo is on your place. So there is a mixture, right? And I like to always to explore that. Now, you are the 7th house of partner, of relationships. And Aquarius is the 11th house, a portal in itself, of friendship. So this is Uranus ruling, and here it is Venus, the love that we searching for and never give up hope. That's what I feel here. The yoga position that I gave Aquarius is side plank, Santolanasana, the reaching out like a star, and the portal is here the hexagram, the 6th chakra, or the 3rd eye, and in the 3rd eye we become the 7. The 7 is then in here as the transformation, and we can only see in the 3rd eye the crown chakra, and then we are the 8th chakra, the infinite potential here on earth. And then for you, I gave you here a squat, balancing in front of your own heart and recognizing that you need to be completely still to be in your center, but there is no complete stillness because otherwise that would be death. And so understand that this scale that she's holding in her hand is the power of recognizing that everything needs to scale itself out. Your court card is the Queen of Swords, and she is facing the right spinning cycle, and she has one bird, and she has here the water aspect of air, and that's clouds. And the clouds are just here from this lower part. She has a clear vision of what she wants and where she wants to go. If your birthday is between September 12th and October 12th, then this is your court card. If not, please look in the description below. I have listed all the court cards and all the cards that I'm using here right now in this reading. So looking back at your last reading where Capricorn Sun was giving the Libra Moon its inspiration, 8 times 1, wherever you are, you'll shine infinite spiritual light. Wow. You got the eagle and you had the fool and you had this really beautiful energy like a bird, the number 22, which is in a way the fool as well. Right, because the fool is 0 and the number 22, so it can be switched either way, and that's what's really powerful. So let's see what Aquarius wants to tell you, right? Because each time it is different, the reading through the influence of the sun. And on the position of the Fool, we have right away now Aquarius coming up in the Visconti Sforza Tarot. The Visconti Sforza Tarot is one of the oldest intact tarots, and so I use it as that first deck on the position of the Fool, a state of consciousness that gives you a foolish idea, and that foolish idea is important because, as you can see, he looks into the left spinning cycle. Now here we have Aquarius directly speaking to you and saying, never give up, see the star and go for it. And she's actually looking up into the right corner, and so the star is literally saying, yes, even though you think it's a foolish idea, go for it, because this idea is a soul idea, and soul ideas are feeding us, are giving us the power to continue through all the difficulties that this world presents us. Now, like I said, here is the difference of 500 years in between, and you can see it's like, all right, it's completely a different perspective on the star, and all you need to know is that the one star here is you, and the 7 stars around are basically the success, right? A success that doesn't need to show off, because a star is a star, and the stardom that we have almost built a cult around it has become this like, oh, who is a star, right? Who is a star as an actor, as whoever, in whatever field they are brilliant. And so this is what's speaking directly to you on the position of the Fool. Then comes the Magician. And the Magician is the state of consciousness that says, okay, I can go for the stars. Okay, I see the middle world, the number 36. And of course, here this becomes an 8, right? Remember the calculating together. So the 1 and the 7, magically you seeing success in being yourself, now an infinite potential of stardom. And then comes the 36. The 3 and the 6 together then creates a 9, the completion and the completion of the identity that you have learned to give birth to, that you worked on, and particularly the self-love of knowing now I am in the middle, I am between heaven and earth, or the lower world. I have the power, and that's where he points at. He points up at the upper world and at the lower world, and he is right in the middle world, magically creating whatever it is he wants to create. And so the 36 as that 9 is almost, then the magician has become now the hermit, and the hermit is the tantric union of oneself, of recognizing I am a star, recognizing I am in the power to now summon the powers from above me and from below me, and I can create. So then comes on the position of the high priestess, the foolish man. And so you begin to look at this world. He's pointed at the left spinning cycle, and she is the intuition in you. She is the one that says intuitive trust, the position of the star on the Fool. It's not a foolish idea. This intuition, listen to it and recognize now very clearly the circle where the middle world is around this tree, the tree of life, and this is a 0 and the star is on the 0. So it's all this infinite potential, this world that we don't see but exists, and it's almost like there is nothing, right? In space we cannot grasp anything, and still it exists, right? The space exists because there is stuff in space, and that's how we can recognize where we are on this planet. And so the spirit of ether, or the foolish man, which I really like, right? The foolish man comes to you, and of course, as you can see, this card is filled with symbolism. And of course, here we have the air, and you are air, and so you feel quite connected with this state of consciousness, right? You feel connected with the element air or space, because you're occupying that space through the wind. And what's really interesting now is that she has one bird, and here are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 birds flying above the tree of life in this sphere, in this beautiful protected space, right? And so the 6 in itself creates a self-love, a deep self-love, and in that one bird is necessary in the end, and that's you. Then comes on the position of the Empress, La Force, the force of Leo. And now you really see that in this deck, which is connected with the Rose Cross Order and was created 1888 in France, and here this is the Order of the Golden Dawn, and that was also created 1888 in England. So there's 2 different ways of creating the tarot, and you see that the Justice is the number 11, and now in this deck the Justice is the number 8. And so they switched the position, and so each school says, well, our positioning is the right one, and the other one says, no, ours is the right one. And again, both of them are right, because there is no such thing that as I am right and you are wrong, and that's where the fighting is between the religions. Well, my religion is the right one. Well, why? Just because you experienced yours, you have to now indoctrinate all the others and see it the way you saw it? everybody has the right to see it the way they see it. And so here comes the 11 as a reminder to find the difference, the diversity, the shift, the change, that you are now not the justice anymore, that you are now the strength to find your inner consciousness as that this is the wild side in me that I want to connect with. And there is an 8 above your head anyway. So it's very important that we learn to grow and learn to see things from a different perspective. And this is where the Empress comes in. She gives birth to this state of consciousness. And you are really recognizing it, because there is an exercise in this card when you read the book, right? It is, if you have someone in front of you that has a different perspective than you, then put yourself into the perspective of this person. Put yourself into his shoes, into his point of view, and you make an object of what's happening here, and all of a sudden you can separate your inner beingness from that difference, and you can understand the person in a much larger scale and create then the solution out of that difference. And it's really interesting that this is literally speaking about, now the Justice has the number 11, and now the Strength has the number 11 as well. And so you can see that there are differences. And then comes you out of that knowledge, you see clearly, you can put yourself into the position of any person and become a perspective of them that you maybe wouldn't have had before. And now you can actually be more gentle and loving and letting no judgment come over your perspective of this person anymore, because you recognize everybody has this wildness in them, and not everybody's able to tame it the way she just put her hands on this beast, on this lion. I mean, usually you'd be like, I eat you. What do you want from me? What's going on here, right? It's like, don't do that to me. I'm a lion. And she's like, no, I am actually controlling that wild beast within me that wants to do terrible things. We all have that in us, right? And then comes on the position of the Wheel of Fortune, comes here this Tower. And then you find out of any situation a solution, right? So this is very interesting. It's the number 49, the keys on trees. And the 49 creates then a 13, and the 13 becomes again a 4. So there's a whole story that can be told just by those numbers, right? 4 is the responsibility. Take responsibility of your identity. And that's what the Wheel of Fortune brings, right? Because that's Jupiter. Jupiter is the one that always brings us new challenges in either way, right? The way you see it, it might be lucky, it might be unlucky, right? But no matter what, it's like, that's what the Wheel of Fortune does. It's just like it keeps turning and it keeps spinning, and it keeps like letting you know, okay, everything is changing and shifting, and you gotta be vigilant enough to recognize, okay, you gotta change and shift with this Wheel of Fortune. And so take responsibility for your identity, for who you are, for who you stand for. And this is what came to you already here in the middle world, right? The number 9 as the Hermit, as that, yes, I am the 9. I am an independent personality. I can do whatever I want. I can be up here in this tower, and no matter what, I have the keys to this way of thinking, and I can liberate myself. Then it becomes the 13. Then magically I give birth to that which I have become, right? And you are really exuding this beautiful energy, and there's a transformation in the 13 because it's connected to the death card of Scorpio. And then you are just responsible. You have come and realized you got to find the key to liberate yourself out of this tower, and you're in the cage where the number 7 is, right? And so, as I said, the number 6, the third eye, is the only place where we can see the 7, the crown chakra, the 7 of the 17, right? The 7 of the star that has come on the Fool. And the 7 is your crown, or is the success of the Cancer position, right? The success that you hold in your head, in the way you see yourself as a star. And so this is what you have to understand when you look at it, when you continue your path to the right, through the human path. And then comes your position, right? Then comes justice, and here you get the 4 of Cups. And the 4 of Cups is Moon in Cancer. And Moon in Cancer is that deep look within, that deep knowledge of, I have everything that I ever wanted, and on top of it I get another cup, and now these cups are giving you a stability, are giving you the continuation. And you can see how this little flower is literally out of these 2 leaves. This one hand holds the flower, and it's feeding the 4 cups, and it creates this beautiful stability here. And at the same time, it's also a moment where it can be gone, because the 4 is, yes, the stability, but then it can also become stagnant, right? It's almost like you gotta continue to evolve, you gotta continue to find a way to put yourself out of this prison, because that's what the body is. The body, in a way, for the soul or for the spirit, is a prison, and we have to liberate ourselves out of it constantly through staying alert, staying awake, staying conscious, doing the meditation, doing breathing, doing work. Like I said, you put yourself into the perspective of the other. Right, this exercise that she is saying as the shift, it's like you're shifting your consciousness into the perspective of the person that's standing in front of you, and all of a sudden everything changes, and you're not angry at that person anymore, because you can all of a sudden recognize why the person is acting the way it's acting. And so it needs to evolve here, right? So you have everything, you're emotionally absolutely satisfied and happy and healed, and so nevertheless it continues, because now on the position of the Hanged Man, which is a state of consciousness that is giving you here now the orange colored sapphire. And it's very interesting because it's the 39, and the 39 becomes a 12, and this is a 12, right? So the 3 is you gave birth to this new consciousness, right, that you have realized on the position of the Empress, the state of consciousness of putting yourself into the perspective of the other person, and that gives you a new identity. That gives you then the 9, and then calculated together the 12, the 1, then you see magically that your intuition is guiding you and leading you to the right places, and then together it's left the 3, and then you are empowered, and then you have a strength that is huge, because then you don't see anymore an enemy in front of me. You just see people who have difficulties to create something of significance in their lives, because otherwise they're just constantly trapped in their perspective. And so what I see here is this little orange flower, and here comes this orange colored sapphire, and that's where the stream of consciousness is feeding the 4 of Cups. So the energy of the orange sapphire is feeling joy in being sensuous and respecting your body and having a good body consciousness. And so this is reminding you to come into your body, to come into the aspect that you have a body, and that's why you are able to do all these things. Every card is literally saying, okay, it's foolish enough to come as a soul into a body, but yet it's what the soul wants. Otherwise we wouldn't have created these bodies and the consciousness to it. And so here you are in this middle world, and in this middle world you are destined to be a star. You are a star to your own universe, to your own world, and it's time to recognize that you feeding your emotions, your feelings through the body, through the self-love, through recognizing that everything has its power. And then comes the tarantula. And the tarantula looks at first like, wow, a lot of people are scared of spiders, right? And you see it's the fire symbol here, and the tower is the number 16. The tower is Mars. Mars is always that moment where we recognize, okay, it's really, something is really changing, something is really wanting to speak to you, as that's it. You have to let go, right? That's what the tower is. You have to let go of something that has built this structure, that has built this tower, and you think you're protected in this place. And it's like the tower is literally bringing the tarantula as that now you got to see something on a different perspective, because it's a crossroad. It's claiming life's purpose. And here the most important aspect is to follow your intuition. And so the tower as the number 16, which becomes a 7, is then the 7 in the star, right? The 7 of the 7th chakra, the success, and seeing only through the third eye the success of being a star. And the star in itself then, of course, is that calculating the 1 and the 7 together becomes the 8, and the 8 is here in her head, right? The infinite loop, which is also above the magician. And so it's very important that you recognize that power. And she has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 legs. And so the intuition, the infinite potential, the tarantula represents a moment when a great decision must be made. It involves prioritizing your life's deeper purpose or dharma. A habit or routine from the past is sidetracking you from your dream, yet the voice inside keeps begging you to refocus your attention. In order to find true happiness, you must choose dharma. Until you do, satisfaction will be fleeting. The tarantula hovers, patient and calm, like an old friend that knows your inner soul. It already knows you'll choose wisely. Then comes on the position of the star, the King of Pentacles. Now in this deck she painted actually a female King of Pentacles to all the male kings, right? So she brought in the female perspective, and so this is a Taurus energy. And then you recognize that if you make this wise decision, that you become very grounded, very strong in the way you work your magic, because I mean the elephant is part of Taurus, and you can come down. You have then recognized something within you, that the heaviness for you is something very difficult, right? Because you are air, you are light, you are not like a Taurus, like a bull on the ground, like a cow, right? They're very slow, but even though when we see them running around, they can be very fast. And so there comes then a richness to you when you take that right decision. And that decision is something that you have to find, that now the age of Aquarius that we are moving into, because that spin the Earth thus to the left, which lasts 25,800 years, gets divided through the 12 zodiac signs, and then we become an age. And right now we're moving from the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius. And so the message here is very clear that then you have a richness, you have this middle world richness, right? You know exactly how to work with the middle world, and you have then the depth and the feeling of how we work, or how it's done here in this dimension. And you need that, right, to continue your path. And then on the position of the moon, which is the age of Pisces, right, comes here the desire to evolve, comes the number 6. The 6 is the self-love, is the cosmic womb, and is the divine feminine. And that's what we see here, right? We see that she created a feminine king, and so I think she should also, to the queen, create a masculine queen. And this is what's talking here now. Finally, we have arrived to a deeper self-love. That's what the 6 is, a self-love that we can live here in this world, in the number 6, right? A self-love that doesn't stifle us anymore in the way we want to express ourselves. And so this womb, it's almost like this becomes the moon, right? It's like the age of Pisces is literally saying, yes, now you have recognized your true being. It's almost like this is your soul. This is who you are as a soul. And you growing and you are evolving and you want to continue your path. It's a desire, it's a longing, it's a deep longing to evolve, to continue to evolve. Because then on the position of the sun, where the age of Aquarius is coming to you, right? So that you know that the sun is in Aquarius, comes this mountain and the number 16. And on the number 16, remember, came the tarantula. But also you, as the number 4 that came up on the justice, you are recognizing that yes, mountains are very steady, are very stable, but at the same time we gotta continue our path. We gotta continue to evolve. And so you are almost like giving yourself birth to this new you, because the 16 is the 1, which is magic self-love, and you recognize now that you have been sleeping and you have now the potential to awaken through the star, right? Through the age of Aquarius, through this foolish idea to be a star. And here comes a star because the sun is a dwarf star. And so you recognize now how big you are and who you truly are. And it's almost like we're looking underneath here and we see you now under this blanket here, waking up. You are awakening, because you are awakening to a new you, to a female king. And like I said, now it's the time to shift perspectives, because everybody can get into the perspective of another person. And this is what is coming up here. Very clearly, you are becoming a clear perspective, because that's up in the mountains. We have the clear sky. We don't have clouds. And you see truly who you are. You are big. You are a star. And you are ready to conquer the world. And then on the position of the last judgment comes one last little, have a deeper look, have a look at this wake-up call. And the wake-up call is bringing you the pitch. Be as clear, concise, and professional as you can be when you explain your ideas to potential associates. Okay, the number 5. So, what associates? You want to bring your pitch. And what is your pitch? And I see that it's the understanding of the cosmic womb that she's holding now, like this flower in her hand. You have an idea, you have something, you have understood that the star, that the age of Aquarius is upon us, and that things are now created in a way that she can walk into the right spinning path. She's literally like, okay, it continues, the path keeps going. And here, in a way, she's sleeping into the soul, right? The soul sleeps sometimes when we die, when we leave this world, because that's what the tower does, right? The tower with the number 16 does sometimes, you know, yeah, bring us into the other dimension, and then we sleep and sleep until we get this feeling of like, I want to come back to this plane and again be part of what the diversity brings to us here. And so this pitch is you pitching the womb, the number 6 here, to the 5, right? The 5 is the self-consciousness. Being self-conscious are the 5 senses. And it's very interesting how she is all green, and I don't see really the green here unless I would take the green inside of here, the cape that she's wearing. The next and the last one now is then the world. And then you be the Leo, the strength, the perspective of Leo, and here it's now the number 8. Then you have recognized that her 8 in her head has become now this card, the number 8, and you're sitting on Leo. You have mastered, you don't need to open his mouth anymore, you have mastered, you have put yourself into the perspective of the lion, and the lion is there for you, and he's helping you to now go forward and to be in this infinite loop, because Leo is opposite of the star, right? And we just had Leo full moon, and the Leo full moon, I'm sure, brought something out of you, and the sun was giving the Leo full moon the light. And so here you are with the 8, and this is an 8. So there's an 8 portal with an 11, right? And you really are being pushed to the most amazing place. You are pushed to recognize that the full moon in Leo really brought you into the age of Aquarius. You recognized that the age of Aquarius is something that you now have to pitch to people. That's the pitch. It's not that you have a business or something, that you have to give the people the understanding that you know what the age of Aquarius is all about. It's that hope, it's bringing possibilities, is bringing opportunities, is bringing new ways. And you see the green background with her being green is the hope, right? Is the heart, is bringing new things into this world. So I hope I see you in the next reading, because then turns the earth in such a way that we see behind the sun the constellation Pisces, and on the position of the moon came the cosmic womb. So this is important that you recognize your true state of consciousness, right? Because here is also a circle around the tree of life. And so this is where Pisces is going to speak to you through the cosmic womb and through the divine feminine. Until then, I thank you so much for being with me. Namaste.